She's been here for the good, the bad, the ugly, and pretty much ever since the team been trashed. Now, ever since Caitlin has got to the team, ever since Caitlin has joined the team, the Indiana Fever has grown notoriety across the world. They is the hottest WNBA team in the country and pretty much one of the biggest teams in all of sports. With all of that being said, Kelsey Mitchell has been taking it upon herself.
Okay, this is wild. It looks like Kelsey Mitchell is in serious hot water once again. This time, Kelsey Mitchell thought it was a good idea to throw shade with her. We need talk, and fans caught every single word. The question is, will she regret it now that Clark and Cunningham's names are completely in the mix? So, what do you think? Was Kelsey just hyping up her squad? Or did she cross the line into disrespect?
Kelsey, one of your teammates said yesterday that you started saying in the huddles, we're all we got, we all we need.
Yeah, I said we all we got, we all we need, yeah.
How did that kind of come about? And do you remember when you started sharing that message?
Probably, it might have been after somebody got hurt. I won't even lie to you. It was early on. I think it was when CC got hurt, and I felt like it was deflating. It was hard for people to kind of see us and see our energy for what we brought to the table as a team. Hats off to CC for being a great teammate and having to go through so much with injury. But like the all we got, all we need was it's a staple to who we trying to be as a team and who we want our culture to be. We can't help the ones that's not here, which is unfortunate, but we can help who is. And be present about that and not disrespect the game because, I would like to think that CC, Ari, Sid will want to play and be in our shoes. And so I think the all we got, all we need is just, it's kind of like a respect thing, but to put it in the air that we all we got and we all we need.
Now, little things, right? On the surface, it just looks like standard locker room motivation. Teams say things like that all the time. But here's the thing. Context is absolutely everything. She even admitted that this mantra started when Caitlin Clark went down with her injury. And honestly, that's exactly where the trouble begins.
I don't know if she's dissing Caitlin Clark, but a lot of people is insinuating that. Now, we have seen time and time again, members of her family even take shots at Caitlin.
Think about what that really implies. When Clark was sidelined, instead of focusing on supporting her teammate and the future of the franchise, Mitchell's rallying cry was essentially, "She's out, but we don't need her anyway." Maybe Kelsey didn't intend it that way, I get it, but that's exactly how fans heard it. And once those words are out in public, you no longer get to control the narrative.
Kelsey, through all the ups and downs of this season, and I know you have bigger goals in mind, but the team ensured a 500 finish back-to-back.
And here's the kicker. This isn't even the first time. It's actually the second time the Mitchell family has been caught in the crosshairs with Clark. Let's not forget, just a few months ago, her relatives were online throwing shade at Caitlin. Tweets, comments, little digs, they were everywhere and fans noticed. Now, hearing Kelsey herself repeat this mantra tied directly to Clark's absence, people are connecting the dots. And honestly, it's not in her favor. The irony is wild, because without Caitlin Clark, the Fever wouldn't even be on the national radar. Mitchell has been dropping buckets for years, sure. But those games didn't trend on Twitter. They didn't get ESPN segments. They definitely didn't sell out arenas. Clark's arrival changed everything. The Fever are now the hottest ticket in the WNBA, not because of their win-loss record, but purely because Caitlin is the star fans came to see. And what about Sophie Cunningham? Her name got dragged into this drama because fans see a clear pattern. Mitchell isn't just shading Clark. She's been petty toward other players who bring major attention to the league. Take Sophie, for example. She's got her share of haters, but she's completely embraced her role as a lightning rod. She's unapologetic, physical, and constantly making headlines. Sound familiar? That's because Caitlin Clark is in the exact same boat. Loved by many, hated by plenty, but undeniably the center of attention. So when Mitchell's words start sounding dismissive of Clark, fans automatically lump Sophie into the mix. Because both are players who take heat simply for being the faces of the moment. Cunningham has dealt with dirty plays, endless online criticism, and non-stop debates about her attitude. And instead of solidarity from fellow players, sometimes all she gets is shade. Now Mitchell is facing that same accusation, tearing down instead of building up.
Right, given everything that this team has gone
Yeah.
through this year, and the fact that you guys, I think, are 1 win away from securing a playoff spot. Like, what did it take to kind of stay the course, and what does that mean to just at least get that one thing kind of checked off?
It's definitely a stepping stone in the right direction. I think considering where this organization has been and some of the great players that's come through it, we got to look at this, like I said, for a winning moment tonight. It doesn't happen a lot, and where we've been at, you guys know what it's been like the last couple of years here, and so to see the tables kind of turn, it works in our favor, and I think that we deserve it from a standpoint of we put the work in to be here, and so I like to think that you guys don't keep sticking it with us too, because you guys deserve it. In order to capture good content and all that, you got to win, and so I think it goes together as far as both sides, but I think it's definitely important for us to kind of bask in it for a little bit, because I remember where this group was.
Let's not sugarcoat it. Kelsey Mitchell is a bucket getter. She's genuinely one of the most consistent scorers in the league. But here's the kicker. Buckets don't always equal leadership. Leadership means recognizing the bigger picture. And when you say, we need the moment your teammate goes down, it honestly sounds like subtraction instead of addition. That's exactly where the instant regret sets in, because fans are absolutely not letting this slide. The Fever's entire rise has everything to do with Caitlin Clark. Whether Mitchell likes it or not. TV ratings. Caitlin. Sold out games? Caitlin. Jerseys flying off shelves? Caitlin. Kelsey can drop 28 points, and most people won't even notice until they check the box score. Clark puts up 15 with a couple of highlight threes, and it goes viral within minutes. That's not disrespecting Mitchell's game, it's just reality. But instead of embracing that spotlight and strategically using it to her advantage, Mitchell's comments look like pure resentment. Fans hear that mantra and immediately think she doesn't appreciate what Clark brings. That's a dangerous perception, because once people believe you're jealous of your own teammate, the narrative writes itself. And Sophie Cunningham knows all about narratives. She's been painted as the villain of the WNBA. Anytime something physical happens, her name trends. She's been labeled dirty, cocky, everything in between. But here's the difference. Sophie doesn't back down. She leans into it. She knows who she is and plays her role. Now, because Mitchell's words carry that same dismissive energy, fans are lumping Sophie into the conversation. The irony? The Fever actually need both Mitchell and Clark to coexist if they ever want to win. It's not about who scores more or who gets more shine. It's about balance. Mitchell's scoring and Clark's playmaking could be a perfect duo. But every time shade gets thrown, directly or indirectly, that chemistry gets harder to build. Sophie Cunningham would probably laugh her way through this entire mess. She's lived it. She thrives on chaos. But Mitchell? She looks visibly uncomfortable in a negative spotlight. And now, thanks to the we need mantra, she's stuck in it. Here's the other problem. The Fever didn't exactly dominate without Clark. They scraped together wins, but inconsistency ruled. So when your rally cry is, we don't need her, you'd better back it up with absolute dominance. Otherwise, those words come back to bite you. If you're going to claim you don't need Clark, then prove it on the court. Instead, Mitchell's phrase just handed critics more ammunition. And honestly, it's almost funny. The same players who roll their eyes at Clark's attention don't realize how much they benefit from it. Without Caitlin, nobody's talking about Mitchell's comments. With Caitlin in the spotlight, everything is magnified. That's the price of fame. If you're on her team, you live in her spotlight. That's where the regret really hits. Mitchell didn't expect fans to turn on her for a simple locker room phrase. But once people tied it to Clark's injury, the whole interpretation shifted. Suddenly, she wasn't a leader rallying her squad. She was a veteran dismissing the player who turned the Fever into a phenomenon. That's not a good look. Pile Sophie Cunningham into the mix, and it only gets messier. Sophie's entire career has been about proving doubters wrong and pushing back against disrespect. Now fans are saying, see? Mitchell's doing to Clark what others did to Sophie. That's not the company you want if you're trying to be seen as a leader. Here's the truth. Mitchell doesn't have to love Caitlin Clark. She doesn't have to be her best friend. But she does have to respect what Clark means to this franchise. Because without her, the Fever are just another small market team fighting to stay relevant. With her, they're a national story. And as for Sophie Cunningham? She's living proof of what happens when you become the face of hate. No matter how well she plays, people talk more about her attitude than her stats. If Kelsey Mitchell isn't careful, she risks being painted with the same brush. And the worst part? Kelsey Mitchell might not even realize it until it's too late. The story doesn't stop at one press conference. Once that clip of Mitchell saying, "We all we got, we all we need" hit social media, fans dissected every single syllable. And once Caitlin Clark's name got tied to it, the debate exploded. Some defended Kelsey, saying she was just hyping her squad. Others saw it as undeniable shade. Clear proof that jealousy is alive and well in Indiana's locker room. Here's the thing. Perception matters more than intention. Maybe Mitchell meant no harm. Maybe it was just a routine line to fire up her team. But perception can drown intention any day of the week, especially when Caitlin Clark's name is involved. Fans don't give the benefit of the doubt when they think their star is being disrespected. That's where the regret sets in. Mitchell's smart enough to know she can't outshine Clark in the media. She can outscore her on the court sometimes, sure, but in terms of attention, it's not even close. Every headline revolves around Clark. Every press conference, every ESPN highlight, every debate show. Clark is the centerpiece. When Mitchell tries to plant her own narrative, it gets compared against Clark's spotlight, and she ends up looking smaller by default. And that's where Sophie Cunningham enters the conversation. She's lived through the same cycle of being branded the villain. People boo her, call her dirty and call her cocky, and she just keeps showing up. Sophie's learned how to flip disrespect into fuel. Mitchell hasn't figured that out yet. Instead of using Clark's shine to lift herself, she's trying to carve her own lane. And it makes her look like she's tearing others down. It's not the first time we've seen this in sports. Veterans get overlooked when a flashy new star arrives. Feelings get hurt, pride gets bruised, and suddenly every comment is analyzed under a microscope. Mitchell's been a steady scorer for years. But Clark is the cultural shift. Fans don't rally around consistency. They rally around viral highlights and game-changing energy. And Sophie Cunningham is proof of how this league chews up narratives. She plays with an edge, and for that, she's branded as the villain. Mitchell's words now risk branding her as the jealous teammate. And once that label sticks, good luck shaking it off. Sophie knows that better than anyone. The irony here is that the Fever desperately need Clark. Without her, no sold-out games. No national media coverage. No ESPN debate segments. Just another small-market team struggling to stay relevant. And Mitchell, who's been there through all the losing seasons, should understand that better than anyone. Instead, her words suggest the opposite, that the Fever don't need Clark to succeed. That's a wild take when the numbers say otherwise. Let's be honest. The Fever didn't suddenly become competitive because of Mitchell. They became competitive because Clark arrived, and the franchise was built around her. And Mitchell benefited from that spotlight. Too, more fans saw her scoring, more people talked about her game, and she earned more national respect. If she can't see that, she's missing the big picture. Cunningham, on the other hand, knows exactly what happens when you miss the big picture. She's been disrespected plenty, by fans, media, and even opponents, but she never complains. She takes the heat and uses it. Mitchell could learn from that. Instead of brushing off Clark, she could embrace the fact that Clark makes her more visible. Instead of dismissing Sophie as just another name, she could recognize that Sophie's experience handling disrespect is valuable. The longer this tension lingers, the worse it gets for Mitchell. Because once fans turn on you, it's nearly impossible to win them back. Every future quote gets twisted as proof of jealousy. Every game is watched for bad chemistry. Every stat line is compared to Clark's. Even when she plays well, it's a battle she can't win. At this point, it's not even about stats, it's about perception. Clark doesn't need to defend herself. The fans do it for her. Cunningham doesn't need to defend herself. Everyone knows her role. Mitchell's the one stuck defending herself, because her own words opened a door that never needed to be opened. And that's the kind of regret that lingers long after the soundbite fades. The league moves fast, but reputations stick. Just ask Sophie. Every hard foul she commits, every shove under the basket, it all ties back to her label as a dirty player. Fair or not, that's her reputation. And now Mitchell risks a label of her own. the jealous vet who didn't appreciate Caitlin Clark. Once that label sticks, good luck rewriting it. The Fever needs leadership, not division. They need Mitchell to step up as the veteran who helps Clark through the league's ups and downs. They need her to embrace the spotlight, not resent it. They need her to realize Sophie Cunningham's path, being hated but unbothered, is not the one she wants to walk. Instant regret is real. Once Mitchell sees how fans reacted, she has to realize the damage.
And the irony?
She could have avoided all of it with one simple tweak. Say "we're together" or "next woman up." That's unity. But tying it directly to Clark's injury made it sound like subtraction instead of team building. That's the mistake. That's where the regret cuts deep. Kelsey Mitchell may have thought her "we all we need" mantra was harmless, but the fallout proves otherwise. Fans aren't letting this slide, especially with Clark and Cunningham's names tied in. Respect matters. And this time, Mitchell's words completely missed the mark. So the real question is, can she rebuild trust with the fans, or is this label going to stick? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.